guess Whistler just offers up the most amazing world-class venue there is, really. 15-minute descent, endless options, so really it's an amazing place to train. I kind of grew up with Adam and Chris, We're still ripping the park every day. And it's fun to be in the middle or be out front or be in the back. There's always that sweet little spot where someone kind of ninjas a new line or something, and it's cool to see, that bit of development even on the same old trails.
It's easier to judge how much time I don't spend in the bike park because I work there and ride so much there. I'd say between working and riding, I probably only take 5 or 6 days a month off. Otherwise, I'm in for 8 hours, half an hour, whatever I can get in, really. Going up by yourself and talking to people that you've never talked to before, and just don't even tell them that you work on the trail crew and just ask them what they think about things. It's a good way to get insight to what you're doing. When the A-line race comes around, to be competitive with world champions and some of the best riders in the world that they've never heard of you, and suddenly you're up there in the results, and it opens some eyes.
And one day I was just riding in the park by myself, end of the day, and it wasn't too busy, and just doing top to bottom laps on A-line, and Adam Billinghurst just like fully cut me off, and all of a sudden the two of us were just riding together. Basically we just started brainstorming from there and came up with the idea of having each guy just kind of play tag almost all the way down the hill.
I was really surprised how it worked out, because I came in right behind his wheel and we just kind of stuck, and it was just a nice junction and it flowed really well. Me and Rennie would go over line selection, and especially on this one corner, you come down a steep pitch into a berm, and then the next corner is kind of like a fall away over a hill. The regular line is like off camber slick rock, and it's always dusty and kind of gravelly on it. We hit it a couple times, and then we'd talk about it, and then all of a sudden he was roosting the inside.
The general concept for the bike park Segi was to try to capture racing speed as well as we could. It's something that we really wanted to touch on this year, and after watching some of the Earth movies where they really capture the racing speed so well with all the World Cup races, something we wanted to have, and the bike park segment seemed like it could be the perfect fit for it with this concept, and just the fact that there's so many fast trails on the mountain.
We already put in a ton of time working on the jumps before we got there, and Darcy had been over there scoping cable lines for the cable cam and that kind of thing. So we had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen, and when we actually rolled in, we just kind of showed up and set up our gear and started rolling. Jordy and Ryder and Cam really had a super positive vibe going, in the sense that, when one guy was trying something new or really just trying to get the perfect 360 or just maximize the tweak or whatever, they were really, supporting each other on that, and it was cool to see that energy.
How about this backyard sesh?
Yeah.
Not bad,
what about those Lunds? Unbelievable scene they've created here for us. Push the boundaries of the sport, and we're here to record that for them, of them, and for all those people out there that want to watch.
We were lucky that Brian Lund, Jordy's dad, was around the house when we were over there for our shoot, and yeah, just can't say enough about how helpful he was as far as all the logistics. He really understands how important riding is to Jordy and to the other guys, the other riders in the community. And so it's nice to see him supporting that.
I'm happy.
Why so happy?
Why so happy? Because everyone's having so much fun at my house, and everything's going right on schedule. because Johnny Boy's on top of things.
Dirt jumping was something we wanted to have in the film this year, and seemed like a really realistic thing that these guys do, that every day they're back there just riding their bikes and progressing and learning new tricks all the time, so it seemed like it'd be the perfect thing to add to the film. The first cable cam line that we had set up went on the outside of the jumps, and it was probably the longest one. It was about 400 feet, and it allowed us to shoot the whole line all in one shot. After the guys had hit the jumps multiple times, we realized how high they were getting, and with dirt jumps they never really reach a certain elevation, so we realized we could get really close. I was able to pull off a shot with Cam where I was probably about 5 feet away from him.
Oh, I started building here like 11 years ago. So.
Way to go on the jumps, Jordy!
I mean, Ryder's pretty used to it here, but Cam's sweet. He's having fun too. Yeah.
Huge!
Nice one.
Boosting.
Alright, I'm going to ride.
Oh, yeah.
How's it feel to be back?
It's good to be back. I haven't shot mountain biking since Crank 3, so it's good to be back. Jamie got me back of retirement. That's good. Thanks, Jamie.
Watching those guys hit dirt jumps for days on end was one of the most amazing things I've seen. They probably hit those jumps hundreds of times, and from dawn till dusk just kept riding even when the cameras weren't rolling, and at the end of the session those guys could barely walk.
One can to one foot.
And then Jordy, you should do nothing to X and nothing to Cam.
And nothing to one footer.
Yeah.
Or just at one footed, no handles.
No, go one footer to no footer to,
One footed
to rock star
I've
to
done
nothing.
one of those on the small jump once.
One foot to no hander. One footed no hander. Tuck knees.
Those are so fun on Mira Pro being too.
Dynamex to Mexican. Tuck one hander, no footer. No footer, what?
We started tossing ideas around, and that whole sort of Eastern European urban landscape really appealed to us. And when we showed up and started walking around, Ryan started finding things to ride right off the bat. We knew it was the right call.
I told him to get up to speed, and then he'll let us go by.
Okay.
Because we want to be just a little bit in front of him, maybe 10 or 15 feet.
That's killer,
Yeah,
dude.
right there, Jan.
More, even a little more, yeah.
A little more?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sweet, Jan.
Yeah, yes.
Working with Ryan is really different than any other rider we work with throughout the year. His vision is so specific as to what he's looking for that only Ryan can really find his lines.
It's going to be tough though. We were talking about that and having me come in a frame and then the car start all of a sudden.
Well, we could be.
So if you're already going,
we'll just be going. That way we can come off the door and then you'll roll in.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good
Jan.
speed. Nice.
We were scoping lines around the train tracks, and obviously after some of the crazy things Ryan pulled off in Cranked 5 when he was hopping from one track to the next, without even really saying anything, Ryan just kind of found this 5 foot high concrete block, and he just went for it right away, and he actually nailed it on his first try. We pulled out our cameras and started shooting. Took about another 20 tries or so for Ryan to get it on camera. Before Ryan rides a line, he really takes the time to see himself complete it in his mind, and that inspired us to do a couple shots in the film where he's actually watching himself ride some of the lines. We're so used to being in the middle of nowhere and pretty much being able to do whatever we want, and then we come to a city like Prague where there's people and traffic absolutely everywhere, and there's a whole new world of obstacles for us to work around.
Knock off one before breakfast.
Prague is over. Finished.
Yeah. Pivo.
Pivo, we are done.
Pivo.
Pivo. Closure of Prague. Boom.
Watch here, watch the camera.
Track.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Marrakech, Almenara Airport. With the local time, it's just past 20 minutes past 7 in the evening.
You get picked up by Ahmed and Rose, these two guys who are driving these yellow Land Cruisers, and it was amazing, really. We got set up, we got driven into this little roundabout, and we get all our bikes and all our gear and everything off, and everyone's looking at us like, wow, look at all these guys with all this gear and driving these yellow Land Cruisers. We're like, what have we gotten ourselves into? But literally within being there for half an hour and getting a taste of the culture through the main square there in Marrakech. The center was just going off. It's during Ramadan, and everyone is out and eating all the amazing food and stoked because it was past their time during the day where they can eat, and everyone was just it was out and the city was alive, really. So for us, our first experience in this place was just happening, and it was just like stuff going on everywhere. Opening the doors to this beautiful place and very nice people and great food, and we all had our own room, and so it was a nice warm welcome.
Since I've been here, I haven't seen one thing that's the same as home. If people just you're walking down the street and they just stop and look at you go by. I kind of wish I could fit in a little better.
I think we should get going fairly early tomorrow because there might be some stuff along the way. You see, we're going from here over the highest pass in North Africa, and why not leave? At like 6 or something. Sure. Get going, and then you can get some stuff on the way out, the nice light and stuff.
We're driving east towards the Atlas Mountains to a town called Ouarzazate, and this road, we're cruising along the paved roads thinking, okay, this is no big deal. Then we start going over these little passes, and then the next, an hour or so later, we're on this gravel road, and this gravel road, we're probably on it for, I'm gonna say 3 hours maybe. And on the way, obviously, you're getting to see these epic towns in the middle of nowhere and how these people subside and live, and seeing the terrain. And then obviously when we're coming into the town and the Atlas Mountains, you can see from the town these massive mountains, and us getting all excited and seeing the potential that we had in front of us. You're driving up through this epic mountain pass, and we all saw them ripping single track into these villages.
Oh, that's a serious look there.
Sit down.
And then further up the canyon, we saw this road gap that was basically just sitting there waiting for us. I remember being in the Jeep with I think it was maybe Jamie and Thomas, and I was just like, do you guys see that thing? And it was just waiting to be hit. And from a distance you can't tell really how big it is, but it looked massive. But then driving up to it and riding up there, and we could see and prepping for it, we're like, this is fully doable. And So that's always exciting when you get a move in the can like that fairly early on in a trip.
Give me a quick rundown on that air. How did it feel?
It was awesome. It was awesome because it was something a little different. Like a lot of step downs like that have been done, but it was quite the sick run out, and it was cool.
Wind died down enough for you there?
Yeah, the wind was such a sketchy factor. We all literally like, okay, I'm going, threw it down and threw it down.
How about hitting the lip there? Was a little blind?
Yeah, it was diving board style for sure. But it seems like every jump we do these days is diving board style. So.
How was the tranny?
Tranny was so nice. Tranny made that thing because it was soft enough that you lost a bit of speed when you hit, and you get on the brakes and get ready for that corner. So. Maddie learned from the two previous jumps. He went a little shorter than me and a little longer than Shandro, so
yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of decent coaches I had there.
Yeah. Some air veterans.
It's pretty rad for me, Jamie, because those guys, like, I haven't been doing this for that long, and those guys I watched on movies, like, way back, and then they're, like, definitely guys that I've always been like, wow, that's sick. And then they helped me out. It's cool.
Nice having a 3-pack standing up there talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go, Hunter.
Shut up.
After we wrapped up this zone up in the Atlas Mountains, we drove west back towards Marrakech, and about an hour and a half south of Marrakech, we came across this town that Chris and Dave knew, who are our guides there during the week or so. And we heard about this potential, this Utah-esque landscape and this red dirt, and so we were obviously pretty stoked and excited about the possibilities, and we saw the potential, and we were up on top of this ridge, and yeah, 2-3 hours we're like, wow, we had like 5 things within like a, I don't know, 300-400 meter radius, and so it was literally like, okay, we're staying here for 5 days and we're gonna kill it.
That's cool. Well, it's very orange.
Yes, it was quite deep. I couldn't tell for a second.
Oh, really? There was
Just show me your bit of the riding position.
Well, I mean, it's like, you know, tables like so.
It's gonna be like that?
Yeah.
That's probably where you're looking?
Probably. Well, I mean, I'll be looking like that, kind of.
Little elevation difference, but got the shot, boys.
As soon as I get home.
Oh yeah, I see it.
The cool thing about this line is that it's basically full speed the whole way. Like with the run-in, we're trying to get as much speed out of that jump. At first, the jump at the top is just like, man, it's what you dream about. Sweet hip, big tall takeoff. Step down into a big, nice like safety net tranny to right through the low spot and right off the step up. And basically, in your mind, you just got to charge the whole thing. It's awesome.
I think it was maybe my third time. I got it once pretty good. My second time, I'm like thinking I could get it a little bit better, and then so I hit the first air and second air, step up, and I came a little cockeyed off this lip. And when I landed, I jammed my leg, and I heard this pop when I put my leg down. I'm like, man, I hope I just sprained my leg. It hurt for about 20 seconds, so I was kind of optimistic, thinking, you know, I was okay. And unfortunately, the next day there was no way I was going to be able to ride. I've never had the experience of being on a film trip or whatever and not being able to do it, so just kind of had to suck it up and hang out and spectate.
You guys are neat the way you guys ride together like that, fellas.
There you go.
I just love riding behind Matt.
Well, he's such a good guy, you know.
I think it's safe to say that everybody took so much from that trip, just from an experience standpoint. And yeah, we're all psyched on the segment that we pulled out of it, and the shots that we got, and the contribution that the trip has made to the film has been huge. But I think as a crew, a trip like that really brings us together and helps to remind us all how lucky we are to do what we do.